Here we have the trident, haha. And the trident is representative of the Trika school, or the school of three, right? So of course it's the three. And in Kashmir Shaivism, the Trinity, the three, the Trika, is Shiva, the underlying consciousness, unmanifest, all-knowing. Shakti, the energies of manifestation, all of the energies of life, seen and unseen. Shakti, the mandala of life. And then the third aspect of the Trinity is what is called the Anu, or the point. And the Anu is each particular adornment, each particular manifestation that provides a unique and necessary view on reality. Okay, so that's the Trinity, the three, the Shiva, the Shakti, and the Anu.
And next slide, please. So we're going to go through these in a little bit more detail. So Shiva. So the literal meaning of the word Shiva has two main meanings: underlying and good. And this is the unmanifest, pure transcendent consciousness that could never be perceived. It is always that which is perceiving and never that which is perceived. Next. So we name this in our talks often as aware presence, the changeless, formless ground of our being. And next slide, please. And we're going to illustrate each one of these of this Trika a little bit further with verses from a tantric text called the Guru Gita. So I'll sing the verse, and Kimberly will provide the English translation. Chaitanyam Shashvatam Shantam Vyomatitam Niranjanam Nada Bindu Kalatitam Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha.
So consciousness, eternally at rest, beyond space, stainless, beyond nada, the primordial sound of Om. Beyond Bindu, the dot, the blue pearl, and beyond Kala, the subtlest level of manifestation. Because of this, I bow to the resplendent Guru, Shiva.
Next slide, please. So
Shakti is the energy, the force, and I love like say that word Shakti. Say it, Shakti. Can you feel it? Shakti. It actually has the same sound as when you strike a match. Shh. It's that creative force, Shakti. So this is the energy, the power, the force, and it's manifest. Okay, it's immanent. It's ever changing. Right? It's impermanent. It's dynamic. It's the creative energies of consciousness, all of them, without exception. Right? Perceived and not perceived. Visible or invisible. So it is the mandala of life, internal and external, as though there was a difference. Okay, so this is Shakti, and she's constantly birthing all of the forms in every moment. It's coming forward in every moment. Birthing.
Slide, please. So this is a verse describing that aspect, that facet. Akhanda mandalakaram vyaptamyena characharam tatparam darshitam yena tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha.
So manifesting an undivided circle, pervading therefore both the animate and inanimate. That state is revealed through the Guru. Because of this, I bow to the resplendent Guru. Shakti.
So notice animate, inanimate. We humans tend to make a sharp distinction between what appears to us to be animate and living and those things that appear to be inanimate and not living. And this says, no, that distinction is not accurate. It's all pervasive. And then the third facet, Anu. This literally means point or dot. And this is indicating each one of us, each of you who hear the word you. This is describing you as an individual expression of this infinite consciousness, one adornment out of infinite adornments. And that includes the response ability that each of us has. That is, each of us has capacity to act in our own way. And even though we may begin acting out of a sense of confusion in which we consider ourselves to be this limited mind body, as we engage with the Shakti, then she teaches us, and we learn to, next one, ultimately we learn to act out of a recognition of ourself as a unique expression of this awareness presence that has manifested the mandala of life. So we're participatory in that way. And the verse describing this facet, Guru Krupa Prasadena Atma Ramam Nirikshayet Anena Guru Margena Swatam Yanam Pravartate.
It's through the gift of the Guru's grace, the descent of the power of grace, one should experience the joyous self. By the Guru's path, the direct experience of one's self arises.
So here, this is something that maybe is obscure to us many times, because often the teachings that we hear from different traditions is that somehow we got to get rid of ourselves. There's something wrong with the fact that we have a sense of ourselves. And so here, that's not part of this path. Our sense of ourself is where we are at all times, and that is not separate from anything else. In other words, that is the unique viewpoint that is being lived through us.
What has to be dissolved is the ignorance of true nature, right? But not your sense of self. This is the unique anu, the unique expression. So again, this is a radically inclusive view, radically inclusive. And it takes into account that we're here. Why are we here? We must be here for a reason. Unique expression.
Yeah, and that the infinite cannot know itself except through becoming finite. Infinity cannot know itself. It becomes infinite, finite viewpoints in order to know itself infinitely. And the great Sufi Ibn Arabi concurs with bringing in some other traditions, obviously. Most of those who claim to know God make the knowledge of God dependent on the passing away of existence and on the passing away of that passing away. This is clearly an error and misconception. The prophet said, whoever knows their self knows their Lord, and did not say, whoever gets rid of their self knows their Lord.
So this view of the Trinity, the Trika, is actually echoed in other wisdom traditions, right? So it's not unique to Kashmir Shaivism. And for our path and very much of what's been happening at the Center for Sacred Sciences as well, is the truth has to be true everywhere, or otherwise it's not true. So we just wanted to honor some of these other ways in which the Trinity is named. So here we have, of course, in the Buddhist tradition, we have the kayas, or the three bodies, okay? And we're gonna, to name these three bodies, these three kayas from the Buddhist orientation or the Buddhist view, we're gonna use a couple of quotes from Longchenpa, and who's a very highly revered 14th century Dzogchen master. Really, really clear naming. So the first is Dharmakaya, the reality body, Dharmakaya. And so Longchenpa says it this way. He says, within the ultimate womb of basic space, vast and spontaneously present, there is only self-knowing awareness. This blissful place of rest, extending infinitely as the supremely spacious state of spontaneous equalness. the Dharmakaya,
And then the Sambhogakaya.
which is Shiva. Sorry, to Shiva.
Yeah, so that corresponds to Shiva in the Trika tradition. So Sambhogakaya corresponding to Shakti, the enjoyment body. Everything is the adornment of basic space and nothing else. Outwardly and inwardly, things proliferating and resolving are the dynamic energy of awakened mind. It is a marvelous and magical expression, amazing and superb.
And then Nirmanakaya, right, which corresponds to the Anu, the point, the specific, which is the emanation body. Okay, and so Longchenpa says it this way. He says, Nirmanakaya is the natural arising of things. Like reflections, emanations arise out of the responsiveness of teachers. A power that is simply so, and the pure karma and aspirations of beings with positive minds. So often Nirmanakaya is referring to the Buddha's physical body, and often is then oriented to kind of the avatars, right? Those high, clear beings that are stable in the recognition. But you can also see that Nirmanakaya is also you, because you are that emanation. Like, what else are you if you're not that emanation? It's you. And it shows the path of alignment.
And next slide, please. So moving now to probably the more familiar to many of us, Trinity as it's described in Christianity. So this is a painting by Saint Hildegard, a 10th century German female mystic. Her way of describing the Trinity of Father, Child, and Holy Spirit. Now, so this is often termed in Christian language as God in three persons. However, Cynthia Bourget, who is an Episcopalian priest and mystic, she clarifies that the word that has been translated as persons is not actually accurate, because the original word is the Greek word hypostasis, which literally means foundational state. So instead, it's the three foundational states of Father, that corresponds to Shiva, Child, that corresponds to Anu, and Holy Spirit, that corresponds to Shakti. And perhaps this is clear. If not, then if you spend some time, you'll see that these are very similar descriptions.
So you go to the next slide. So what's so beautiful about the remembrance of the Trinity, the three aspects, as is emphasized in Kashmir Shaivism, as well as as we see these other wisdom mystical traditions, is that it has in balance each specific adornment, right? So it's like in a great symphony. We've got a cellist in the house. So in a great symphony, right, it's each musician, it's each instrument, and it's the tuning of the instrument, it's the refining of the musician. And that particular expression is going to affect the mandala of the orchestra. Each one is valuable and important in its contribution to the whole. Okay, so we see that very clearly in an orchestra expression. If you go on to the next slide as well. And we see this in the natural world too.
So in this image, take away the stream, or take away the banks of the stream, or take away the rocks, or take away the trees, or take away the sky, or take away the air, that it's all the space itself. None of that can be, this is a whole. So, but each feature that we see here is an anu, is a unique expression that is part of this whole.
Aware, alive, specific expression.